Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome here. This is your host, Ma'awiyah Tucker. And we're here to answer your questions and your concerns, Bitcoin related, related to this crypto space, loosely, but primarily or mainly Bitcoin. And today we want to talk about um, different avenues of making money in the Bitcoin space. There are many ways in which we can make money in the Bitcoin space. And I've always advocate people to stop thinking of Bitcoin as a investment opportunity. Just buy the asset to eventually sell later on for fiat because it's an investment. Actually, we should take Bitcoin as a means of saving, a treasury for your business, the base from which you launch your business. So what are some of the ways in which you can launch your business? One of them is Bitcoin mining. Now, there's a bit of debate whether or not Bitcoin mining is really profitable, realistically speaking, for the layman. Unless you're doing some major operation and get some really cheap electricity, it's very hard to make money. Um, but there are definitely ways to still mine Bitcoin, and there are definitely motivations to do so, which is not necessarily monetary. One of the reasons is to get non-KYC Bitcoin. If you're mining Bitcoin, you're actually getting Bitcoin from the source, so there's no issues about where the Bitcoin came from. So, and you could do so privately, so therefore you get money privately. So if you're spending money to mine it, what you're getting is non-KYC Bitcoin. So as long as you're breaking even, or at least a few percentile points away from the market price, it's good enough. And I guess ways which you can increase the revenue from that will be to get cheap sources of electricity. Now, the obvious one would be things like the sun, the wind, basically free at the end of the day. And when I say basically free, you have to factor in the cost of the solar cells or the wind turbines. That's the problem. So if you can, so you have to factor in how much does it cost to get solar panels, how much does it cost to get mining rigs, and how long would it take to make back what you spent on those devices, whilst factoring how much you would have made if you just bought the Bitcoin. And this is where it comes down to the challenge. If I had £10,000 to buy a solar farm, and sorry, let's say 20,000, 30,000 pounds to buy a mini solar farm, or just put solar panels on your roof and buy some mining rigs, that's £20,000. How long will it take to make back the money? Let's say a year and a half, let's say 2 years before you're now broke even. So what that means is that you've now paid for the devices. You now are mining 100% profit from that moment on because you paid for it. Your solar panels are paid for, so everything you get, all the electricity you get from that is also now free, technically speaking, because you paid for it. But Bitcoin has also gone up in price. I mean, not always, but it tends to go up in price. And the price of these devices generally fluctuate. I.e., in the bull market, when everyone's crazy and Bitcoin's gone to the highest it possibly can, the mining rigs are usually expensive. So if you bought it then, you pay more. And usually at the end of a bear market, when everyone's so bearish, everyone thinks Bitcoin's going to zero, the mining rigs are cheaper. Which means that if you're trying to buy at the top of the bull market, you're paying a premium anyway. And if you want to buy it cheap, you're buying literally at the beginning of the new market. So you can't really win. So you have to kind of look, okay, if I was to buy Bitcoin with the money I have now, let's say 20,000, that would give me 0.2 Bitcoin. That 0.2 Bitcoin is worth £20,000 today. In 2 years' time, how much will it be worth? Will it be worth $20,000 or pounds? Will it be worth more? Will it be worth less? Because remember, 2 years, you're just breaking even. So that means you're waiting 2 years for your £20,000 to now be paid back. So you got back your £20,000. You kind of like you're waiting 2 years doing nothing. So imagine there's two scenarios. You bought the solar panels and the mining rigs. That's one scenario. Or you just held the fiat. It takes you 2 years for you to be both back the same place again. Obviously, in this scenario, you actually have a mining rig and a solar panel as well, but you're essentially back at square one. So if Bitcoin's actual market price is still there, then that's great because you can now buy the Bitcoin at the price that you had 2 years ago, plus you have the mining rig and the solar panel, and it worked out perfectly fine. You're in profit regardless. But if now you have the mining rig you have the solar panel, and you have made back your £20,000, but the price of Bitcoin now has quadrupled. So now it's £60,000, that the point two. Therefore, you've actually effectively lost. And this is the challenge of it. But anyway, that's one way of making money through solar panels and wind turbines. Also, you can use rivers. Hydro is better because it's more consistent flow of electricity. As opposed to solar is intermittent. You have to deal with the nighttime. You have to deal with clouds. You have to deal with cleaning the solar panels, efficiency, whatnot. And the one I'm most excited about is geothermal. Now, this is usually something I would think governments will be interested in, especially the government like Indonesia, Malaysia, that have volcanoes. All those volcanoes there, you can literally print money. Put a mining operation at those geothermal vents. Use the heat from the volcanoes to boil water, to turn turbines, to get free electricity. And this free electricity you can't use elsewhere because no one lives on these islands because they're volcanoes, for example. Perfect opportunity for making Bitcoin. And that's basically due to mining. Now, I'm not saying outright. I mean, I know Saifeddin, he has the opinion that there's no point doing mining for us. It's only a big corporations and things, and even they struggle to make profits. But I still think there is at least an ideological case to be made that mining Bitcoin, you still take a part in the network, in decentralizing the network. I think it's very important for us to consider that. So if you, for example, have lots of Bitcoin, you've been in Bitcoin for many years, and you have extra cash that you don't mind spending on a car, buy some mining rigs, man, and mine Bitcoin. Passive income. You can even do things like if you have enough money to buy a flat and you want to Airbnb the flat, or you want to make the flat go to rent, you can have one room cornered off, locked, and put some mining rigs in there. So not only are you making income on the rental yield, but also you're mining Bitcoin. So that's double bubble from the property, from the location. You obviously have to get the mining rigs that are liquid cooled, because if you've got the ones that are fans, that will be very noisy. So there are different ways of making money in this space through mining. And these are things we should always think of in this space. How can you, and the beauty of Bitcoin is that the more you try to make money from the space, the more you actually add value to the space. It's beautiful. It's like a feedback loop. I want to make money through mining, but by doing that, you're strengthening the network. I want to build an application that it helps inheritance and make money from that. By providing a service, you're actually adding value to the network. So the more you actually build on network, you're actually adding value to the network. Again, it's a feedback loop. It's a beautiful system. So yeah, hopefully in later videos we'll explore other ideas you can do to not only make money from Bitcoin or from the Bitcoin ecosystem and add value to the ecosystem, but you can also add value to the network, to us as a whole, and also line your own pockets with some extra cash. Anyway, thanks for this video. Thanks for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.